Hi Mark, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Dawn.
Nice to be in your factory today.
Yes, welcome to the Dalgety Tea factory where we pack, smell, drink tea all day long.
Well, yes, I'm sure people saw the teas piled high early on in the video. So well done with all that you produce. I remember a time you used to do 6 teas. How many teas are you doing now?
Well, as of literally this week here, I think we're now on about 37. It's approximately 40, but some of them are packed in different sizes.
Okay.
But we're just about to launch our new instant turmeric with black pepper, which is a new line. We're back into CS product development. I think you're probably going to find another 10 products in another 12 months or at least 4 months.
So you're coming out with the products.
Yes.
Hard and fast. Good for you.
Yes.
So do you get good feedback about your teas? What kind of effects are people saying that the teas are having on them?
Well, we always get good feedback, I would say. I mean, different people say different things because you remember that different people have different needs. So, I mean, it's not a situation where one size fits all, So you have people who, for instance, who might be suffering, say, from having issues with cancer, would say how the soursop is helping them. People who have got issues with, energy levels might say the moringa is helping them.
Really?
People who are having coughs or something like that might say, well, a lot of the ginger teas are helping them. People who have insomnia might say, good night's sleep is helping them. People who are trying to lose weight will say, our effective slimline is helping them. So, I mean, we have a family of teas that basically works to helping people in various ailments that they might have. So it's not a one fit, that fits all, basically.
Okay, I remember coming across the slimline tea and thinking, what is this one all about?
Effective slimline.
Of course, I bought a pack and tried it, and all was well for a few hours. Nothing was happening, and then all of a sudden, 7 to 8 hours later, began to feel a little twinge, and the twinge got bigger and bigger. And then
Exactly.
I've got to say, that anybody who tries that tea needs to be near a restroom for most of the day because It is very effective. And I know there's some very expensive treatments out there for weight loss.
Exactly.
But this is just, a pack is about $2.99 or something, isn't it?
$2.99, and it tastes good. That's the interesting thing about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it does.
It's actually deceiving because when you drink it, this is a very nice, quiet tasting tea with a little ginger twinge and so forth.
It's a bit like a secret.
And then, and then next thing you be tempted to think that this can't do anything to me, and then next thing you're there, all the fats and everything is there getting out of your system.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yes.
What made you do that one?
You know what? For many years, people have been asking me to do a slim tea, and I really and truly didn't really want to do one because I didn't want to do something that I felt was just a marketing gimmick, So I spent I literally almost 8-9 years just researching, slimming effects and different things, and I also wanted to make sure it was 100% natural, So eventually, I thought, okay, let's go for it, and basically what we did is blended some herbs that are related towards getting rid of excess fat. From your body, helps with indigestion because a lot of times the build up of fat or waste in your system, or you putting on weight, might be just due to also indigestion. You're not chewing your food effectively and so forth. So I brought together a set of herbs like that and made it into a blend that worked, and also I was trying to make sure it doesn't taste, because you find a lot of slimming products tend to have very awful taste or peculiar taste. I wouldn't want to say awful, peculiar. So we wanted to also have a flavor that people felt that they were comfortable to drink with, So eventually we launched it, and it's actually one of our top selling teas. Even on Amazon, it is our actual top selling tea.
Oh, really?
Because it's simple and actually it is effective.
Yes.
And we don't boast about it. We tell the people just try it and then we leave it to that. Yeah. We don't go shouting that.
The effects speak for themselves.
Exactly.
I understand.
Yes.
When you started the tea business, you started with another herb, which is like a body cleanser.
Pretty much. That's cerassie, corilla, or people know it as bitter melon. That's a bitter tasting tea, but that has a lot to do with cleansing the blood.
Oh.
You know, that helps with if you're, people with diabetes use it a lot and so forth, but it's really to do with blood cleansing and purification. It helps to get your body pH back to the normal pH levels and things like that. So if you like too many sweet things, too many chocolates, too many sweets, we also say to people, try to enjoy what you want to eat, but you have to eat and use something to counteract it.
Yes.
So if you like to drink a lot of sweetie drinks, you like to eat a lot of chocolate, you want to counteract by drinking something like cerassie.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It helps get rid of pimples on your face. It literally cleanses your body and cleans your skin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now this is like a hidden secret too, because most people don't really know that.
Well, a lot of West Indians do know it. Obviously in different parts. An interesting thing about it is used in various parts of the world, but it's called different names.
Yeah.
Out in Jamaica they were calling it cerassie, but in Guyana where I grew up, we were calling it corilla. I'm out in Africa. In Ghana they call it nyinya, and it's a very big herb in certain. It's actually almost a spiritual herb in certain tribes. The chiefs wear the vines around their neck at ceremonies and all this kinds of stories.
Really?
Yeah. You go out into Asia, they call it bitter melon in Philippines and all these places.
Okay, because the bitterness of cerassie can be off-putting.
Yes.
But the benefits that you've described are amazing.
Yes. But the interesting thing about it is that the more bitter it is, the purest, the people who are into cerassie, they expect it to be bitter. And if you even attempt to make it less bitter, you actually could lose sales.
Really?
Yes, because the purists, they test the quality based on how bitter it is. And we actually spend a lot of time trying to make sure it's cured in a right manner to maintain the full potency. So if we were to go there trying to make it less bitter, believe you me, that would be the end of cerassie.
Okay, I see.
But then, what you're speaking about is obviously could cater now for the people who want to use cerassie, but don't want to taste the bitterness, which is basically put it into a capsule version.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And they should be able to get the same benefit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one of your latest products is turmeric and black pepper, I believe.
Yes.
And you're doing it in an instant form.
Instant format, yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, we have a turmeric family, basically, which is made up of pure turmeric and ginger, and turmeric and black pepper. And, our instant teas is also a very big hit in the market because, as you know, at least in the UK, Dalgety Teas is probably one of the only companies that actually manufacture an instant version of herbal teas. There might be some instant teas around there. I know it's normally imported from Spain and a few other places. But in terms of a herbal tea that comes in an instant format. So we felt that the turmeric would be a nice addition as we build the family of our instant teas. At the moment we do instant lemon and ginger, instant ginger by itself, and instant ginseng and ginger. So we thought introducing the turmeric version, since turmeric is also a very strong emerging product in the market in terms of the benefits of turmeric. As you know, it's anti-inflammatory and it dissolves in your blood, and adding black pepper to it increases the dissolving rate of the turmeric in your blood literally by about 2,000%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, that's the reason why it's such an unusual turmeric and black pepper. You're one of the things why are you having black pepper with the turmeric?
Yes,
but that's exactly the reason why.
Does that mean it's slightly peppery, spicy, the tea?
Yeah, it is spicy. But not very spicy. It's palatably spicy, Yes.
Yeah, and your ginger teas are quite good. You can actually taste the ginger.
Yes.
If you get other ginger tree brands, you can barely taste the ginger. It's very
we spend a lot of time with farmers, one of our passion is really working closely with underprivileged communities. And if it's a ginger community, whether it's in Guyana or the Caribbean, Africa, we literally go in there and then teach them how we want it to be done the Dalgety way.
Really?
We don't let them just go and do what they feel like doing. We sit down and get into the whole science of how to dry this stuff and maintain the quality as though you just dig it out of the ground.
Really?
Yeah. That's what I do. Literally, that's what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had a degree in was it
chemical engineering.
Chemical engineering.
So
that's
I'm more into the science of things more than I'm not a herbalist as such. Some people tend to think that because I do herbal teas, I'm a herbalist. But I'm more into the science of the stuff.
Well done. That's excellent.
I get deeper into particle size and all this stuff, the moisture content level. That's what makes me get up in the morning. It's not just the packing of just getting the old leaf and putting it in the tea bag. I mean, you know, that
I think you're doing a huge favor to everybody because you're helping a few, you know, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people live a little longer. Have you ever thought about that?
Never thought of it, but it was
it's quite a responsibility.
Nice to know. That's quite a responsibility. I never thought of it. I don't want to take on that before I start getting sued for. By the way, I didn't reach 100, and you did say that I was going to get there. You know.
Oh. Well,
but once it benefits people and they're smiling, that's the main thing.
That's probably your next tea. It's going to be called longevity tea. Yeah. Could be your next one. You actually have a sleep tea as well. Tell us about that.
We do. Oh, good night sleep. That basically was developed because, I mean, you know, sometimes one of the things when you're in the market and you're moving around, you hear of different challenges people have. And then sometimes you hear of products that are stating that they are helping the challenges but don't actually help the challenges. So that's where we come in with our USP and get deeper into it to understand how could we make a product that truly does what it says it's going to do, you know, and then we look for the herbs that we feel has the best benefits and then try to work with making sure the herbs, because sometimes there's some herbs that might do some, say they are effective towards something, but if it's not processed the right way, if it's not dried the right way, you know, if it's not cared for the right way, it will not be effective enough. So that's why we get into the caring of that product from the time it leaves the farm or from the farm stage. We try to care it in such a way that we get the full benefit from that product. The thing about agriculture, like, and you know, there's every so often, you know, there's different things that could happen to a particular crop, a new fungi, a new virus, a new bacteria that could come and just demolish a crop in any part of the world. I mean, even simple as, you know, I mean, I don't know if it's 50 or 100 years or so back in Ireland, for instance, they almost all starved to death simply because some fungi took over the potato crop. You know, so that's one of the reasons why at Dalgety we try to make sure that we have supply chains right across the world, because we know that if we depend on any particular specific region or country, exactly what has happened to Nigeria is what could happen if we were 100% dependent on only Nigerian ginger.
Yes.
We would have been affected right away with the amount of ginger lines that we do. So we make sure you have something in the Caribbean, different countries in Africa, different countries in the Caribbean, and different parts of the world. You know, we make sure we have, you know, primary, secondary, and tertiary suppliers.
Okay, brilliant.
Yes.
Do you find that the ginger is different from different countries? Maybe
Yes.
different strength,
Yes.
different size?
Yes. And even flavor.
Really?
Yes. And that's normally a very big challenge for us, because obviously we sell our teas a lot. We focus on mainly strength, but there's other gingers that might not be as strong but have a nicer flavor.
Oh.
You know, so we are forever battling with trying to maintain, because obviously in our case, you know, we only do 100% natural product. You know, so we don't want to buy a particular ginger and then have to go and add some sort of synthetic ginger oil or some form or the other to try and keep it at a certain level. So that always becomes a very big challenge for us, that sometimes we find a nice ginger and then either it doesn't have the heat, sometimes it has the flavor but it doesn't have the heat. You know, I mean, some people might want to sell the ginger just based on the flavor, they're not bothered about the heat. You know, Nigerian ginger is normally very good in terms of heat. Jamaica ginger is actually normally good in terms of flavor.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yes.
The nuances of selling ginger tea. Who knew?
Yes.
Then you combine ginseng and ginger. Ginseng is usually a herb for energy.
Energy, you know what I mean? It's all about energy.
Yeah.
You know, so we did ginseng, and for whatever reason, I can't remember, I ended up blending it with ginger. It might have been, I think it's 2 root crops, so that's why I kind of kept it that way there. I don't think I wanted to do 100% ginseng. Also, I think at that time the ginseng supply was pretty limited. I didn't have enough supplies of ginseng.
Okay.
So for that reason, I wanted to do a ginseng product, and but didn't have enough supplies of ginseng. So I thought, let me blend it with ginger, which will help to maintain, you know,
also the flavor as well.
Yeah, and the flavor and everything.
Different
The
flavor.
flavors are not far off, but ginger tastes better than ginseng. Ginseng has a little bit of bitter taste if it's a pure.
Really?
Yeah, but it adds, you know, both energy and then you get the benefits of ginger at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started with the cerassie tea. What tea came next after that?
I think it was lemongrass.
Lemongrass.
Yes.
Okay.
Lemongrass was the next one, and then you get peppermint, and then we did lemon and ginger. I think that's the first, because we had about 5 to start, or 5 or 6.
Okay.
Lemon and ginger.
Okay. What's lemongrass good for?
Relaxation.
Oh, really?
Just calming the nerves and relaxing. Yeah. So if you feel very fatigued, lemongrass actually helps to relax you.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. And what's peppermint good for?
Indigestion. A lot of when you have wind pain, indigestion, and also peppermint is good for even other things like strengthening your heart muscles and whitening your teeth, but predominantly I normally focus on the indigestion part of it.
All right. Okay. So your policy then was to get your product into small shops. Tell us about that.
Well, I won't say that was a policy. Policy to sell everybody that wants to buy some tea.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anytime you're selling a product, you have to think of where you want to sell to and who the consumers that you want to sell it to and where do the consumers that you want to sell it to go to buy products that they need. So in my situation, although I was selling what you would have thought that I'm selling herbal teas, I would have had only to health food shops. But in my situation, I mean, we focus purely on what we call the ethnic market, which is anyone coming from Africa, the Caribbean, or Asia. So, I mean, because we felt that the products that we were selling, most of the consumers that went into these shops basically that identify the products that we were selling without us having to do too much explanation. Because from the time you have to educate anybody about what the product is, it costs money. As I'm saying, you want to make sure it's as simple as possible. But once someone sees something, they know what it is and they said, okay, it's something that I need or I want to buy. So, I mean, I focus purely like on independent ethnic grocery shops all over the UK because the consumers that I was targeting, I knew that is where they would normally, or a predominant amount of them would have normally been shopping.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Did you ever have a period when you thought, okay, let's spend some time educating the predominant population, the British population in this country?
No.
No?
I know it's too expensive.
Really?
The only time we actually felt, which is 25 years later, where we got the advert for Channel 4, is when I realized that it was an opportunity.
Okay.
I mean, that's the reason why we, as we expand, we move into other ethnic markets across the world. Whether we started selling back to the Caribbean, which is the same part of the world, we were buying raw materials, whether it's exporting back to Guyana, to Jamaica, you have distribution in Grenada and all these places. And then we followed the consumers again into Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa. Just followed with consumers.
Okay.
Yeah. Instead of trying to go to sell to somebody, they have to spend, always explaining what cerassie is or something like that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's a time for that, but it's a cost to that. Yeah. And unless you think you have a bag of money to be able to do that, you see what I'm saying? You go, I'm going to get scientific on we use the route of least resistance.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, in science we have a thing we call the route of least resistance. Or another guy said to me, one of my colleagues who's in the company said, the lowest hanging fruit. Who goes to the top of the tree to pick the mango at the top? You aim for the lowest hanging fruit. Or in my case, I say the route of least resistance.
Okay. That's interesting. Now, I heard you were selling teas to China once. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we're here to sell our products anywhere that we think, and we're fearless. I mean, you be fearful and be fearless. I mean, when people like me, if you're an original entrepreneur, you see a Chinese, I mean, you always hear, it's 1.2 billion, or whatever the amount is 2 billion Chinese. And I'm not thinking of what I could buy for the Chinese. I think about what I could sell to the Chinese. A lot of people think the other way around. So, I mean, it was an interesting scenario many years ago, actually. I think I went deep into it anyhow. I mean, a bit above my head because they wanted me to go and set a factory up there, and then it's been out to back off. But what happened is that I was buying my tea bag paper from a Chinese company. and how the story went. And they were obviously trying to upsell. So they said to me, oh, they could also do the packaging for me, which is the cartoon packaging. And so I said, okay, let me get a quote. And they said to send a sample. And in the back of my head, I decided to send them the actual product itself, which was, in that case, was the lemon and ginger. Because I knew that the lemon and ginger that we were using was 5 times stronger than the Chinese ginger. So when I sent to the Chinese agent, the guy was blown away and said, my God, this ginger is just so powerful. I mean, it's nothing like we have in China. So then I switched the reverse, and him selling to me. I switched on him and said to him, I would like to sell my teas and this tea here in China. And I mean, but I said, my only concern is that I don't think I could compete with Chinese pricing, because Chinese are always known to sell cheap. Then he hit back at me and said, this stuff is so powerful, right? Is that price is irrelevant. And then he then said to me, by the way, do you know that a Blue Mountain coffee from Jamaica, which is considered one of the best coffees in the world, sells for $5 a cup in Hong Kong?
Really?
Right? I mean, there's other coffees around the world, but, the people who have real money, they want to say, I'm drinking Blue Mountain, I'm drinking champagne, you drinking red wine. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, to some extent, human beings are almost similar in different parts of the world. So there's Chinese who want to say, I'm drinking this real powerful Dalgety tea that is from the UK. I'm not drinking my local Chinese because this here is the bomb.
Yeah.
Right? So I basically use that psychology. And then the guy ordered a few pallets for me. Right? And I think I made out, I was kind of very small then, made out as I was some big company here. So then obviously they wanted me to, they were looking at higher volumes. Then they were also talking about me setting up a factory in China and all kinds of silly stuff. And I was actually then just about getting my products now listed into Sainsbury's and Tesco's, right? And then they were planning to come here. And I mean, I didn't really have a proper office and all kinds of stuff. I was actually thinking about, I was just about coming out of my room at my apartment working. so I kind of began to hide from them basically. But I was quite pleased that, I mean, it obviously gave me the boost that I was able to sell to the Chinese in the first case.
Yeah.
And even, I mean, when I was in the factory out in Charlton, I mean, the council was blown away the fact that I'd sold these Chinese. I even ended up winning an award because they couldn't believe that I'd actually managed to sell these Chinese guys my tea,
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, in one way, I was kind of like pleased, because the thing about it is that when you get into that bigger level of business, if I had probably gone under, I'll tell you, I have no doubt, you would have probably end up seeing Dalgety Teas all over the world, and it wouldn't be Mark Dalgety doing it. It would have been the Chinese guys doing it.
Yeah.
I just knew I was way above, because I mean, I didn't have my brand name, trademark, registered, nothing at all. And then they would have just come in and grab all the technology, you know what I mean? And I mean, because I've seen it happen to other companies, we've traded with the guys. Yes, exactly.
Copy them.
Yeah, so I was just pleased to know that at least, I mean, it gave me the boost to feel like I could sell to anybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was the positive part of it all.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, but since then, I mean, we have a good, decent relationship in South Korea now. So we actually have a distributor in South Korea who sells our teas, especially the interns, and they buy regularly from us.
South Korea.
Yes.
Okay, great, wonderful.
Yes.
All right, well, the world's your oyster.
Exactly.
All right, fantastic. So you went from supplying small shops to supplying big supermarkets.
Yes.
How did that transition happen?
Well, I mean, we spent about 2-3 years or so selling, maximizing our position in all the small shops across the UK. And then the next step was to try and see how we could sell to the big supermarkets. I mean, as with all things, most things, there's always a challenge in entering certain new arena. So I obviously spoke to the tea buyer in Sainsbury's, Tesco, as the safe way there was at that time. And the first thing they said is no, which is normally what you would get anyhow.
Yeah.
But then what I suddenly identified is had different kinds of buyers in the supermarkets. They have like a tea buyer, coffee buyer, probably even somebody called a hot beverage buyer, that buy Horlicks and all the different stuff. And at that time, the supermarkets has suddenly dawned on them that, why don't we create a world food section or ethnic category? Because then some smart aleck came along and realized that, by the way, why are you trying to sell Yorkshire pudding or something like that, mashed potatoes in Brixton, when the people only want to eat yam and plantain? you know. So they had this new emerging world food ethnic division that was coming in. So I ended up going to pitch to that guy. Luckily enough, you see, a lot of times a buyer is always driven by data or proof of concept, you know. So those buyers from Sainsbury's, Tesco, they walk around all those little markets looking to see what products are on the shelf. So sometimes when people arrive in the market and they say, "Oh, I just want to go Sainsbury's and Tesco," right? You really will never get in, because they're not going to just buy something that nobody has never purchased before, or there's no proof that consumers are already buying the product. So obviously our products was a very prevalent product in the independent supermarkets, you know. And I mean, that was a good tick box for my presentation. I mean, apart from them saying no, but then eventually I was so pestering them so much, especially I think the guy from Tesco's, you know, he then said to me, "Okay, what I'll do, I'll give you, bring one of your teas and I'll put it on the shelf," because I'd actually spoken to I think it was about 15 managers, you know, because I mean, I began to do what you call, there's a buyer at the head office, right? But then the buyer says no. So you go to a level down, which is going to in those days, the manager of the supermarket. And then I speak to the managers, because they also collect intel from the local shops, and most of them knew the tea. And I said, "But would you like this on the shelves in the thing?" And he said, "Definitely, because I mean, seeing it everywhere, you know." So I was able to convince him to speak to the buyer. So when I got at least, I mean, I spoke about 15, and about 5 of them, I actually said to the buyer, "Hey, you know, we should take a crack at this Dalgety tea." So then when I got back to the buyer basically was like, "Well, I mean, I could understand if you got 1 or 2 of the guys to say, buy your tea, because you might have known one of them as a personal friend. But when you're going to get 5 or something like that or more calling me, I mean, I'll be stupid not to at least take a risk in it." So he basically said to me, he'd bring one of them. I think we started with just the lemon and ginger. And he said to me, "Look, if this product doesn't sell, I mean, I'll give it about 6 months. And if it doesn't sell, I don't want to hear your voice on the phone again." and 3 months later, he called and asked me what else we were selling.
Oh, you know? Wow, and wanted more.
Exactly. And what our favorite was selling, that was the beginning of it. Then once we were in there, I mean, we were able to start showing Asda and Sainsbury, and they were like, "Okay," you know, and that's pretty much how we, that was how that journey started on the multiple.
Okay, because I remember at one point you were saying, "Oh, I'm in 2,000 small shops," you know, and this was before you got into the
I mean, because of peak, I mean, when I was on the road personally selling literally door to door, I'd reached about 1,000 shops. And then it just got too much. I mean, and one day I would, you know, with my phone, I'll have a guy from Liverpool, Birmingham, Brixton, Brighton calling me, or, you know, saying they want, you know, 3 packs of tea or 3 cases of tea. So I couldn't really handle that stuff. So then I began to allocate wholesalers in different regions. So in that way, I would just go to Birmingham, give a guy a pallet. I'd already established the market to some extent. And then, you know, just say, "Oh, you could get it from, you know, House Imports in wholesale market, or Mr. Amin, or whatever, you know, in different regions, you see."
That's fascinating.
Yes.
Do you have a number, the amount of teas you sell every year?
Oh, yeah, of course. We have all, I mean, now we're very much into data, you know. I built the business really and truly, I would say, in an analog mode. You know, I mean, when I built this business, there was no Google. The nearest thing to Google was a company called Lycos, right? If you ever heard that word. But I mean, there was no Google. I mean, I was using Yellow Pages and the library consensus book to navigate around the country. I mean, since then, I mean, the whole internet world and communications and information technology has gone to a total different level. You know, so I now surround myself with people who think digitally. My core focus in the business now is product development and new market development. The day-to-day numbers, I got my people doing that, where they look at every single packet of tea, what is selling, what is not selling, how we could make one that is not selling, which part of the sector, the market is selling, which country is selling the better tea, how should we market a particular tea in a particular country, because this is what these consumers in this country want, because it might be different from the consumers in another country. So all of that, now we taking all that data and then understanding exactly how to navigate the world with our products.
So can you tell me how many teas you sell a month?
I would just use a few 100,000.
100,000.
A few thousand, 100,000. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's per box, the
units.
box.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you had a period of time where, well, it probably is still continuing, where people started to copy your teas. Tell us about that.
Well, that always happens to some extent. I mean, there's always somebody who is trying to replicate what you're trying to do. And we've had everything from established distributors, company turnover over 100 million pounds, replicate our products. I mean, most of the time they're unsuccessful. Once upon a time I used to get annoyed and all, I used to steal my stuff. Now I don't really worry. The world has got how many billion people? Right now I'm targeting Africa. It's got 1.4 billion people. There's no one person who can supply the whole of Africa.
Yes,
I say? Also, you got to understand, you're true to what you're doing. I sell tea. I'm passionate about selling tea. Morning, noon, and night, I'm thinking about tea. Half of the people who are trying to copy me, they're trying to make money. Yeah. I'm trying to make tea. Yeah, and I'm trying to be the best person
and
in
the
tea.
quality of your tea.
Exactly.
I'm sure
You see what I'm saying? So you unless you start getting as passionate about me with tea, that's the only time you'll be able to compete with me. If you get up thinking you're just trying to make some money, you're not going to make as good tea as me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't really worry too much about them any longer. Obviously you keep an eye on all your competitors, but then at the same token of time, the effort that I would take to think about getting annoyed, I don't. I just think about how to make sure I win.
Good for you. That's fantastic. All right. Now, Lois and Channel 4, they had a competition, didn't they? Tell us about that and what happened.
Oh, well, myself and my CO, we were out in Ghana in a village way out in Mackinson or something like that in the Cape Coast. And someone just sent me this WhatsApp saying, hey, Channel 4 has got this competition on where you could win £250,000 worth of free advertisement on a major TV channel, right? And it seems interesting. I saw it, it's the first time I actually realized that, hey, you know what, this is the opportunity to get our brand into the mainstream market. Because as you know, advertising on TV is extremely expensive. Most of our promotional activities, we've done some TV adverts, but always been with local, small digital channels. But to be able to afford to do an advert on, some sort of Channel 4, BBC, ITV station, obviously is a substantial amount of finance needed for that. They ever had in the UK, where they're literally focused on, small ethnic minority businesses and black businesses specifically, okay, to give them an opportunity to showcase their product. We made that a number one effort, and obviously we won. Along. I think there were so many people that applied. From my understanding, it was over 1,000, 1,100 companies applied for that stuff. They were only going to give one person, but they felt so bad they ended up deciding to take on 5. Because of the amount of companies that actually applied to get that advert. But it was our way of being able to now to showcase our products to the mainstream market, because as I said, we focus mainly on the ethnic market for years. I almost want to say we're an number tea company in the ethnic market in the United Kingdom, probably even Europe. But this was the opportunity, because that is where we could make a lot more money. Because remember that at the end of the day, 6 million people are approximately in the UK. 6 million are ethnic minorities, 60 million is white mainstream consumers, But then saying that, if you're going to put a product into that 60 million, you have to understand how to navigate it. Because in that 60 million, there's all kinds of different people. People who drink herbal tea, who only want to drink black tea, who want to drink green tea, who fat, slim, tall, short, you name it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah? So you really have to understand what you're doing in entering that market, And even in our case, when we did our advert, personally speaking, we focused to channel everyone that basically saw the advert into one channel. Because we realized that even if all it was going off, Channel 4 has almost 49 million viewers. So if, for instance, a guy sitting in Somerset, for instance, saw the advert and realized that, hey, this thing looks nice, he's not going to necessarily find it in his local corner shop. So we actually focused all our adverts to go straight onto Amazon, because we knew that most people somewhere along the line, they first of all know the word Amazon.
Yes.
And if they have a Prime account or whatever, they might see the advert and think, hey, this looks interesting. Let me go and see what's all about. Oh, I like it. Click right there, and just, as they look in the TV, they probably buy a box of tea.
Yeah.
You know, from the time you have to tell them, go to Mr. Ali's shop or go walk here, there, you know, it could be a wasted advert, you know. So we did that, and I mean, that helped that advert for us to be very successful, and at least the brand, you know, to get a bit more traction within that mainstream consumer network.
So you got a lot more British customers through that.
Yes.
Okay. And basically Amazon was doing the legwork in terms of delivery.
Oh, yes.
You just deliver to their warehouses and then they...
Yes. And I mean, we have our own Shopify site, but obviously people would faster jump on the word Amazon than even the word Dalgety.
Yes.
So although we have our own online dalgety.co website is a Shopify site. Yeah, because of the powerful name and the marketing strategy of Amazon, the name would resonate faster. If somebody thinks they plug the name Dalgety to Amazon, it will automatically, you know, yes.
What difference did it make to your business?
It made a substantial, significant. I'm not sure was the right word. I mean, it was like, okay, it's the number one, but I mean, we are focusing a lot on online sales right now, digital marketing, direct to consumer. It worked out well because it was also coincide with where our strategy was with regards to digital marketing. Because I took a concerted effort to decide to invest money mainly in digital marketing. And what we had actually done, we had just reached the pinnacle of where we wanted to get in the first stage of our digital marketing, where we employed two young Irish boys that had some interesting concept about, you know, algorithms and all kind of silly stuff. And you wouldn't believe it, right? I mean, we paying these guys, I think it was $2,000 or something like a month. And we had them on a 6 months trial. And they started in the living room in Dublin there, twiddling with, I don't know what it's twiddling with, but all I know is that within 1 year, right, approximately, our sales online and in Amazon moved from $25,000 a year to £250,000. Yes, I mean, right? So we realized that, okay, with that what was moving, then we channeled also, then the advert came along and channeled more people into it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, something interesting happened around that time. There was someone who said to me, we can't find Dalgety Teas in the local shops. And the shopkeepers were saying, what's going on? We can't get any Dalgety. What's going on? And that's when I discovered later on that you channeled all your products to go through Amazon or direct from you. But people were almost thinking that, oh, you know, maybe Dalgety's gone out of business. You know, because people were not finding it in the small shops. Did you know about this? That people were spreading rumors?
There was rumors because one of our competitors, to tell the truth, which one of the big ones, turnover 100 million, they were one of the ones that also copied our products, right? So they were also probably one of our biggest distributors also. So one of their strategies was first of all, if somebody ordered any teas, right, they would send their brand first instead of the Dalgety one. Then they would then say to the shopkeeper, Dalgety is no longer in business. We only have, I don't want to call the company's name, we only have this brand here.
Really?
Okay? So it was just really a marketing strategy, that was out there. It's just what we call business war. You know, and because at that time we were also dependent on these guys to also do a lot of our distribution, in some areas of the country, we began to have that issue. But then the way we counteracted it, because we know that our trucks or on our sales guys on the road was not as substantial as them. I mean, we got I think now 3 or 4 sales guys on the road. At that time, you probably had 1 or 2. These guys got about 20 or 30 sales guys on the road all over the country. So what we actually also ensured is that we made sure that at any point in time, all our online channels had tea. So when somebody said that they couldn't find a particular corner shop in Leicester or Nottingham or wherever, we automatically said them go online and you'll find it. Okay. Because we didn't have a way of at that time to automatically be able to understand how to get the product into that particular shop, because at that time we were at war with this distributor who had actually replicated all of our products. Yes.
I remember one time being in the shop. I think it was one of the large supermarket chains, and I wanted to buy your tea in particular. And I saw other brands in your space.
Yes.
And I actually rang you, didn't I? And I said, how comes I can't find your tea? Well, I can see such and such tea,
yes,
and not yours.
Yes.
And you kind of explained what was going on. And it seemed like there was some background wars going on.
I mean, it's, when you're fighting with serious players, right? Because I can remember some shopkeepers, for instance, said to me, right, these guys will send their brand into the shops, for instance, okay? And the shopkeeper wants Dalgety, right? Because he knows he's making a good margin on Dalgety. Dalgety sells the fastest too. And he will say to these guys, hey, come pick up your tea. I know the answer would be, never mind, you don't have to pay for it, just leave it there. Because at the end of the day, you remember that's like advertisement for them, just getting their products positioned onto the shelf. They're not contributing anything to our community or anything like that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah? Okay, so they don't mind, they could easily give away, I don't know, a container of tea, right? But that container of tea is basically a marketing cost.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I mean, if somebody sends a shop a particular product, and then the guy says, I don't want it, and the guy says, oh, keep it for free, the guy's not going to throw it away. It's free money for him. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And then sometimes what that also created is that obviously if they went and filled up our space with their product, in some shopkeepers' case, they wanted to make sure that they sold off the tea that they got free, where they're going to get free cash flow, than buy our teas before they buy our teas to put it back where it's supposed to be in the first case.
Yeah.
Tell
us about crises that you've been through in the business.
There's many crises. I mean, that was one crisis. I probably could talk about that one there. I mean, that's a simple situation. We've had crises whereby we've had companies that were contacting us to buy the brand because they felt the brand had opportunities that they could put.
To buy your brand?
Yeah.
Oh.
But then they have different companies use different strategies to go. There's some companies, for instance, like the one who was a distributor. They would distribute your products. They would collect as much data as possible on what product sells, where it sells to, and every single thing. And then they literally replicate your top 10 lines, for instance, which is what one of our big distributors do, okay? And try and literally put this out to business, okay? I mean, in that case, what we basically did is that, and then they sell the tea cheap or give it away free. So their tea would have been selling for, say, like £1. We sold our tea to the shops for £1, and then it was sold on for like $1.29 to $1.49. Okay. At that time, we had like about 15 lines of tea. I then decided that, instead of me trying to compete with his £1 and he's turning over £100 million, right? It's just one of 10,000 products they are selling. I move into what we do best. We end up developing, for the first time in my life, I developed 10 new lines of teas in literally 6 months.
Wow.
And then we also put the price of our teas up and promote it as a premium quality tea, because we know that the competitive tea, or the guys who replicated, were making an inferior quality product, but it's also cheaper, right? And then with the new lines that we did, right, we then were able to convince the shopkeepers that to say, well, why would you want to have Dalgety peppermint, this other brand peppermint, probably another guy's peppermint? That's 3 different peppermints, right? So I'm saying you got 10 new lines of teas. This is when we brought the moringas and the turmerics and the mango leaves and the sourshops and all these things. When you have 10 new variants that you could actually have, that means to say you could increase the variants on your shelf instead of having 10 variants made by 3 or 4 different brands. You see what I'm saying? You make more sales because you're not giving the consumer more offerings in terms of variants instead of more offerings based on the name of a brand.
Yeah.
Definitely. So that was pretty much the strategy we used, to conquer that particular crisis, I would say, and grew our business also, you know what I mean to say? Yeah. And there's other crises. I mentioned my whole Jamaican crisis one time. I could remember that was credit crunch days, 2009. everything was closing and whatever. And I was trying to protect myself by reducing my cost of manufacturing. So I went and spoke to the Jamaican government, who were absolutely great, linked me with Jamaica Trade and Investment, set me up with a case work in Jamaica. I didn't really know Jamaica very well, and that's why I always salute those guys, because I set up a 5,000 square foot factory by them just giving me a case walker, and I was walking around Jamaica like a donkey with blinkers, listening to everything they said, and set up a whole factory, three-phase electricity, machinery, got all my duty-free, everything in. And then I did what I thought I did best, is employ the first 10 people that came in the door, and 8 or 9 of them were no good, and they end up creating havoc in the factory, doing all the wrong things. Oh, no. So the part that was supposed to be very hard, I managed to succeed in, and I probably got very comfortable with what I was doing. Then I realized that I didn't really know how to employ people anyhow, because I had this very bad habit of employing people based on what they said they couldn't do. I would say I want an electrician or whatever, and somebody comes along, or you, Don, might say, hey, my uncle, brother-in-law, friend, whatever, is an electrician, and I would just employ the person because that's what they said they could do. I wouldn't go through the whole due diligence of verifying, because because I might measure people how I behave. I would normally wouldn't tell somebody I could do something that I cannot do, right? But there's quite a substantial amount of people, they just want a job, so they say they could do anything just to get a job, So I went there with that attitude. Yeah, I probably was doing it over here too, but didn't realize how bad it was until I got there. Mm-hmm. And we ended up with this 2 factories where the one that was supposed to be the low cost of manufacturing, making bad stuff, that the one that was cost a lot of money to make, was having to do it over. Oh, no. So I ended up with basically 2 factories, with the cheap one making the expensive one do over all the goods. So it basically almost caused a collapse of the business. So eventually I basically decided, let me close down the stuff in Jamaica. I was walking around, and I always say to some of my Jamaicans, I was walking around for a month or 2, pretty much annoyed the most Jamaicans that opened their mouth, until it dawned on me that, by the way, who is the one that employed the people? Stop blaming people. Blame yourself. Yeah. A lot of times when things go wrong, a lot of people tend to automatically blame everybody else except themselves, when what you should really be looking within yourself and see what you could have done to avoid getting into the crisis in the first case. Right. And then I identified that basically, that I just didn't know how to employ people. So, how I counteracted that is that, luckily enough, somewhere along the line, I think University of Greenwich had a 1-week course on how to employ people, some sort of employment course. And I thought I needed a break anyhow, I was walking around all shopping, annoyed with myself, annoyed with people. And I went on that course, and, it went through a strategic way of how you should really try to employ people. And then luckily for me also, on the course, I met a woman who came from the Institute of Interim Management, and she was also a lecturer at the university, at a master's in business administration. And she normally used to help mainly blue chip companies in the city. Like, she would go in there for managing a CEO who wanted to go on a month or 2 months sabbatical, and she would run the organization and then leave, So she was a bit intrigued by this, this black guy making this tea at this factory and all this machinery, and I said to her, and she asked me what my challenge, and I said to her, this was a challenge. And in order to rebuild, I want to work with the aim. So I want to work towards getting ISO 9000 accreditation. And she said, I've done all of that stuff before, and she was happy to help me. But her price was extremely this woman was earning like £1,000 a day. You know what I mean? My average workers on the factory line in those days was earning about £250. So there's no way I could afford worse than. So anyhow, I realized that the skill set that she had, and I actually ended up convincing her to come and work for me for 1 hour per week for £200. So where everybody else was earning £100, £250 for the week, I was paying her £200 for 1 hour. Yeah. And we sat down and reorganized the whole business and turned an almost double turnover in 18 months. Wow. And I was back on track again.
Oh, well done, well done.
So, different scenarios come and go, and, the first thing you got to do is look within yourself and blame yourself, and then try and, go into solution mode. Also, that's me anyhow, probably as an engineer. When there's a problem, I go straight into solution mode. I don't go into why it happened, how it happened, who caused it. I go straight into solution.
Yeah, well done.
Yes.
Well done. The peppermint tea, how does it compare with the other peppermint teas that are out there? How would you describe the differences?
Well, our peppermint teas, most people know teas are very strong, peppermint is strong. I mean, but it has a lot to do with really how we work with farmers anyhow. We're also passionate, and I personally am passionate about working with farmers and underprivileged communities around the world, where we make a difference to the livelihood of, small villages, whether it's in the Caribbean and Africa. So, we go in a caring manner when it comes to commodities. It's like, if you have a baby, you're not going to have a baby. If you just have a baby, nobody tosses the baby all over the place, isn't it? You know what I mean? You have it hugged up like cotton wool, as you say, you know what I mean to say? And we treat plants like that. We treat plants like that to ensure that, if we say we have peppermint, then you're getting a peppermint of those you just picked it from the yard.
Yeah.
And probably that is the reason why our products tend to come out so pristine, because, we treat them like babies. Mm-hmm. We try to nurture them in a way that brings the best out of it. And we work with farmers to make them love what they're doing also. We pay them, make sure they get a decent livelihood out of it. And, then, from doing that, then you almost get passionate about making sure you have to sell the product, because now you realize it's not just you and your personal family you're trying to make a difference to. Have all these families that are there depending on you to sell the product or the tea to survive. So you find yourself under a lot of pressure then also.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So you feel the strength of the peppermints, and it it affects your body differently to a lot of the other peppermints which are out there, which are very weak.
Also, there's different strains too,
And you have to put 2 bags in to have the same effect.
Absolutely. Because you remember that sometimes even within the strain of a lot of plants, there's different strains. Mm. And that's why when you get as passionate as I am, or we are, about what we're doing, you begin to understand and look in for the right strain. There's large leaf peppermint, there's small leaf peppermint. There's different peppermints that depend on where in the world it's grown, the kind of soil, the kind of temperature, the time that if it's from the mountains, come from the valley, all of that could make a difference. So we get into all of that to understand where's the best place to get it.
I think you must be the most knowledgeable man about herbal teas in this country.
I don't know. I don't think I'm not so high up.
Seriously, you've got 37
I know about why I sell, but I mean, there's a lot of herbs out there. There's some people that specialize in herbs and they know a lot about what all the benefits are. I don't really know about all the necessary benefits. Why get into this whole science of this stuff?
Yeah.
Where they might get into the benefits, I get into the science and everything to do, the temperature, where it's grown, the kind of soil, loam, this, that, why is this, I get passionate about why is the one in, I don't know, India or the one in peppermint might be grown in England, why is it different from the one in Africa or in Ethiopia or in the Caribbean, I went into those whys.
Well done with your teas.
Thank you.
And I hope that the company continues to grow from strength to strength, maybe doubling every year. 70 million people in the UK.
Well, exactly.
Across Europe.
We're across the world. We head into the world. We head into the world.
Good for you, and well done. Yes, it's a fantastic business.
And thank you.
Thank you
very
for
much.
your time today.
Well, thank you for considering to interview Dalgety Teas anyhow. And we like to always thank all the consumers that drink Dalgety Teas.
That's true.
For the consumption and believing in the brand and supporting the brand. We like to salute you.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Take care.
Take care.